This is Good Morning San Diego.
California has revised its ethnic studies curriculum. Educator Mark Powell will be joining us to talk more about that. Coming up, the state of California will now require every undergraduate in the California State University system to take an ethnic studies course. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill on Monday requiring every CSU campus adopt the change by the 2014 academic year and offer courses about people of color starting as soon as next year. This comes amid nationwide protests over racial inequality. It represents the first change to the CSU general education curriculum in over 40 years. Right now, to talk more about this course and this curriculum that is now going to be mandated in some of our universities, we turn to educator Mark Powell to talk more about it. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Tell me about this ethnic studies curriculum. We kind of know how it all began and the reason for it, but what is it going to include? I mean, what is it exactly that students are going to be learning?
Okay, before I go, I just want to let everybody know out there that these are my own opinions. I'm not advocating for any particular group or the County Board of Education. What's happening is not only are they requiring ethnic studies at the university level, they are now going to make it a mandated course in high school. So our K-12 seniors, or our students that are in K-12 education, will be required to take an ethnic studies course in order to graduate. That's going to become a graduation requirement. And there's several issues surrounding that.
Okay, and what are some of those issues?
Well, first of all, our COVID-19 has placed a lot of stress on parents. And whenever you have a new curriculum coming up, they want input from the public. Right now, many groups are not included in the new draft curriculum. What's included in the curriculum are African Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, and Native Americans, which is important. Their stories need to be told and should be told. However, for example, under Asian Americans, there's many Mideastern groups that are not being represented, such as our Persian communities, our Catholic Chaldean communities, Jewish people from the Mideast, from Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, Iraq. They're not being adequately represented, and they need time to go in front of the Department of Education and advocate on their behalf to be included in this curriculum.
Do you think then it was a rush or a knee-jerk reaction to implement such a curriculum, especially for the high school students who are going to be graduating?
Well, I do think it is because of COVID-19. I believe that if we didn't have COVID-19, this whole process would have moved smoothly. But when you have parents that have lost their jobs and whole communities that are suffering, and they need to get online to advocate for their own group, it's really challenging. They're more concerned about, hey, how am I going to get my student online in distance learning? How am I going to just maneuver this online course right now? And the other problem is that only about 50% of our graduates are proficient in English language arts, slightly over 50%. So if you're going to throw another academic requirement on them, wouldn't it be a good idea to make sure that they can first pass or be proficient in English language arts? It just seems like it's another hurdle you're throwing in front of them that's going to make it even more difficult for a lot of people not to graduate.
Yeah, and I know that some parents, are also parents of high school students are maybe wondering, well, why does it have to be a graduation requirement? Why can't it be an elective that these students can choose to take, especially when, obviously it's so competitive, during these times, with just trying to finish high school and then move on to college. Why does it have to be a requirement? And so I think the point there is valid and there is a legitimate concern. But what can be done at this point? I mean, how can the public or parents get involved, or, young adults for that matter?
Well, parents can voice their concerns by logging on to the California Department of Education website and voicing it to either the Superintendent of Public Instruction or the Ethnic Studies Committee, and let them know, hey, we would like our voices heard. We would like to have representation. What I'm thinking that would be the best right now because of COVID-19 is that we just postpone the adoption of the curriculum. Nobody is against, or there may be some people against having an ethnic studies curriculum. I'm not against it. I think it's a great idea to have ethnic studies in school. However, now's not the time to adopt a curriculum. Let's take a step back. Let's regroup. Let's wait till we're back in in-school instruction. It's going to happen soon. And then we can all decide on what's the best curriculum for us and make sure everybody's represented. We don't want to leave anybody out of something that may be around for a decade or two.
Educator Mark Powell, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed about what some of the concerns are that some parents may be having, or members of the community are having, with this revised ethnic studies curriculum that will be mandated in the year 2024-2025 for high school students who are about to graduate. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.